Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, friends, wherever you are. How are you? This is your friend, Mubita Nawa. I come to you today to uplift someone, to inspire someone, to motivate someone, to perhaps help someone attain a higher configuration of their minds, of their soul, of their spirit. I come to you today to speak to the greater person in you. How do you rise from failure? How do you calibrate yourself once again to go to the next level in your life, to find the oomph, the push? Where does that come from? Where is that sixth gear, that sixth sense? Where is that motivation when doom has befallen you, when tragedy has befallen you, and when decisions that didn't go according to plan have befallen you? The dictionary definition of the word failure is the neglect or the omission of expected or required action. The neglect or omission of expected or required action. Failure is that moment when you realize that the success that you hoped for has not been attained, that the result that you thought you would get has not been reached. But it is our duty as souls, as human beings, to find an oomph, a pizzazz, a commitment, a desire to rise from failure. The problem is that most of us read too much into failure. Why did I fail? What did I do wrong? Was I asleep? Was I negligent? Was I absent yet present? There are three types of failures: preventable failure, failures that you can do something about, preventable failures. Number two, unavoidable failure, failure that it was just coming. Murphy's law says if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And then there's a third category, which we call intelligent failures. These are failures where one's judgment is corrupted by the inability to distinguish wisdom from foolishness. So let's go through those three. Preventable failures. If I'm cooking beans and I know that beans requires 4 to 5 hours of cooking, charcoal, constant putting of fresh water, and I do not put water when I know by my previous experiences or by my teaching or by my intuition that I should have put water, that is a preventable failure. That's a preventable failure. So if the beans burns later on, I end up eating the bad beans, I have a stomach problem. Whilst on my way to the toilet on the 8th run of a stomach problem that is running, I slip and slide and break my neck. And then I say, I broke my neck because God wants me to break my neck. Then you have found yourself in a preventable failure. You could have done something about it. Unavoidable failures. You come into the country, you've gotten your visa, and suddenly you arrive only to find that the visa rules have changed. You budgeted for $100 visa, and the new visa regulations now is $600. I'm just giving us an example. And it was your very last $100. And then you are stuck, you are locked up because your visa has expired. You tried to call someone else, you still have the $100 you kept. That's an unavoidable failure. You had nothing or very little to do with it. Intelligent failures. You know you're supposed to sit for your grade 12 exam, but you take the money and invest it into a business that you don't even know whether it's going to work or not. You invest it anyhow because you believe that the profit from that business will then be utilized to make more money. Then you will sit for the exam next year. In the middle of you starting a new business and resitting and rewriting your exam, you are offered a job a year and a half later that requires you to have minimum grade 12 certificate, but you don't have the grade 12 certificate. And then you come out and say, I am cursed. My family is cursed. We never get jobs. You are not cursed. You have lacked the intelligence to make critical analysis and decisions of your situation. Let me bring it down. If your life, you do not handle the failures that happen in your life, and in most cases, it's inadequate training, inadequate preparation, inadequate anticipation, inadequate application of new methods of doing things, better ways of doing things, then failure might be coming your way. If you run a restaurant, but you don't equip yourself with the latest tools of running a restaurant, then you might be headed for failure. Why is failure important in our lives? Failure helps us to get to know ourselves better. Failure helps us to find ourselves. Look at yourself. Some of the deepest moments in your life were not the time you were cutting the cake or blowing the candle or the time you were wearing a new dress. No. Somebody said, in good times, our hands are in the pockets. In bad times, our hands are on our hearts. So failure becomes a mirror, a teacher of self, a self-improvement catalytic tool that pushes us to the next level. From your mistakes, you learn. Alexander Pope said, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Through your mistakes, you learn. Some of your deepest lessons, your greatest innermost convictions are from failure. Failure makes you rethink. Failure makes you reconsider. Failure makes you find new ways for your old strategies, and those new ways will help you achieve new results. Failure is wonderful. Say that with me. Say, failure is wonderful. Say it with a smile. I can't hear you. Say, failure is wonderful. Failure is wonderful. So, in order to rise from the failure of life, you must accept that failure is a part of life. In fact, some scholars say success is failure turned inside out. Failure is very real. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. In the movie Matrix, when Morpheus is telling Neo to jump and Neo is scared of falling, Morpheus says to Neo, everybody falls the first time. And Morpheus ends up telling Neo, I can only open the door for you, but you must walk through it. Failure is beautiful. Failure increases and enhances our experience. The founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken had to try his recipe over 800 times before someone could accept it. The great Thomas Edison had to try 1,000 times before his inventions could succeed. One of the ways to know that you are failing in your life is when you stop growing. One of the ways you stop growing is when you don't want people to tell you the truth. Okay? When you're unwilling to ask for help in your decisions. Somebody's asking me a question here. That question, I think it says, Mwita, do you feel comfortable to be called a cadre of UPND? That's a failure to perceive. So when you're unwilling to ask for help, you are failing. When you start believing everything, you are failing. When you are easily sold on any story and you are derailed from your original plan, you are failing. When you're unable to get personal convictions for your decisions, you are failing. When you're unwilling to reach out of your comfort zone, to burn your comfort zone, then you can't rise. You have to say to yourself, I have tried this, I've tried that, but because I'm so comfortable with comfortability, I'm failing in rising. When you believe that cheap things are the best, my friend, you are a failure. Cheap is expensive. At a certain level, you have to start going for quality, not quantity. You have to start going for legacy, not a litmus test. When you start believing that persistence and endurance are shortcuts to life, then you are failing. Fade said, look at you, Vita, you just failed to answer a simple question. We don't honor sarcasm. We don't honor sarcasm. We are on a different topic now. So I want to conclude by saying, find it in your heart to overcome failure. How are you going to overcome your failure? Accept the feelings and emotions that come with failure. If you feel depressed, say to yourself, I feel depressed. Accept. Don't deny it. Because denial will lead into shock. Shock will short circuit your brain and it will stifle the creativity of your heart. Naomi Tentamashima Kumalo, my sister, how are you? Madam Deputy PS, good to see you. Accept the feelings that you get when you fail, when you are disappointed. That's why for me, I like to keep few friends that I can go to and be naked before. And by naked, I mean it in inverted commas. Be transparent and tell them this is how I feel. Surround yourself with good people because they will help you rise. They will help you rise. Failure does not mean your life is going to be over. Failure sometimes is God's salvation for future problems. You can be going somewhere 200 kilometers per hour. You have a tire burst or a flat tire. You park your car. You start fixing your tire. You are delayed by 40-45 minutes. You start driving after you change the tire. An hour later, you find a horrible accident. 20-40 people have died. You should say to yourself, I was supposed to be dead, but God's failure has saved me from the tragedy that waited me in front. Learn from failure, number 3, and the contributions of failure. Contributions such as resilience, tenacity, wisdom, humanity, and all those beautiful things. Find inspirations in your failure. There's a quotation I wrote when I was in grade 10. It said, when you drop a pencil, pick a pen. When you drop a pen, pick a pencil. Whatever it is you're going through, make sure you come back better. Your comeback must be better than the way you were before. Your comeback must be very, very powerful. Number 5, don't give up. You can't rise if you have given up. Don't give up. Number 6, be passionate. Even in anger, be passionate. Be passionate when you are happy. Be passionate when you are sad. Be passionate wherever you go, have passion. Number 7, surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with energies that galvanize you, energies that build you. And number 8, avoid being depressed, avoid being isolated, gather up with great people, gather up with great minds. And even those of you that are successful, make sure that you pull up others who are failing. That is wisdom. That is wisdom. Hence the saying, on your way up the ladder, remember those at the bottom because you might just need them. What is the value of failure? The value of reaching for something beyond ourselves. And how we get it, even if we falter along the way, it stretches us beyond our prior dimensions. It takes us to horizons, and it makes us enter a level of self-embodiment, self-actualization that helps us handle any inevitable challenges ahead of us. Some of you, the failures you are facing now is God preparing you for the greatness of tomorrow. The victories you are going to display at this level, you are going to use that skill set for tomorrow's greater positions. Some of you are succeeding where you are right now because of how you handled yesterday's failure. Failure is not, has never, and will never be the end of greatness. But failure is the cervix, the root canal, the birthing place of our success. If you see failure, just know success is right next to it. Where you see light, darkness just left. Have a beautiful Friday. God bless you. Thank you very much. It's been a joy talking to you. This is your friend and brother Mubita now. I'll talk to you next time. God bless you. Don't give up. There's so much more in you. This is your friend and brother Mubita now.